Hello my felting friends, welcome to this week's video. Hope you're doing well. This week we're going to do a fairy in the moonlight. She's going to be a silhouette, but we're going to have a touch of colour on her as well. So what I'm starting off with is a blue and a black, and I'm going to mix those together. I'm using my dog brush, but you don't need to, you just want to mix it fairly well. And we're going to go around some of the outside edge with this dark colour so that the centre is quite bright, so that we have something to silhouette the fairy against. So if you just follow me and just go around the outside edges with this really dark colour. And then along the bottom here, I'm just using some straight black. You don't have to, you can carry that dark bluey colour all the way down if you want to. But I'm doing some black because this bottom area is going to have mushrooms and other things like that on it. So I want the back as dark as I can get it, so that these things stand out against it. But you will see I add just a touch of the blue that I mixed in with the black earlier over the top of it. There we go. But you'll see why I've done this a bit later on. So I had some sparkly fibres that I thought I'd have a go with this, and I'll show you that in a bit as well. So what I've got here is some natural coloured sheep wool, so it's a little bit green, a little bit cream colour, just pale, you know, if you look at a sheep it's that colour. And what I've done is I've mixed a hint of blue with it, with one pile. Just the same blue that I've used, but it's just a hint, just to cool it off. And then I've also, that pile you see as well, I mixed some yellow in with it. So this is the cream colour with a touch of blue, and the other one is a cream colour with some yellow. So we're laying the blue down first because I'm going to have a cool transition from the dark of the sky above there and the edges into a warmer colour. So make sure, as you can see here, that you felt it down well. I'm doing this in carded wool at the moment, and it can be quite fuzzy, so make sure you felt it really well. So now you can see I've got a little bit more blue mixed in with that because I didn't like the transition straight from that creamy blue into that dark blue, so I've added a little extra blue, and I'm just bluing up the outer edges, as you can see. But keep it soft so that it kind of wisps into the darkest colour. So you see I don't have a neat edge anywhere there, it's all just wisping in like little clouds. So that's like a nice little halo around the fairy now. And so what we're now going to do is go and pull in some of this lighter yellowy cream colour. The drawing is in the description box if you'd like it, so you can do the same as me if you want to, which is why I'm quite happy to go over some of the outline of the fairy, because you'll see what I'm going to do in a bit anyway, but so long as you get this yellow, I want it over some of the fairy so that I'm not trying to work it in later. I want it to be behind her. So to get that effect, I'm going to need to make sure I go over the fairy's lines. So now I'm into some whitey colour. But you can use the cream wool that you had to do the rest of it for this. And without any other colours added to it, which I think is actually what I'm doing here. It's not the white yet. So this is just the cream, so it will blend in with the rest of them because it's the base colour that the other bits have got. And if you think about this bit, this is going to be the halo, the little glowing halo around the fairy herself. So I want to keep it to going around the outside edge of just the fairy. Oh sorry, and down by the mushrooms and things. But I don't want it spread too far, this is really what I'm saying. start off with the mushroom, and I've mixed a kind of mushroomy colour. This is just the stalk part obviously, and it's just a mixture of browns and creams. But I've cut the toadstool out first so that you can pin it in place if you want to. I just want to make sure I get everything roughly the right proportions. I find that helpful with the fairy because you want to make room for her wings and things as well. So if you sit her right in the centre, you may not get her wings in. So I'm just working on the shading and things for this toadstool. I say toadstool mushroom because I really don't know. To me, toadstools have the dots on and mushrooms are brown and you cook them. So apologies if I get the wording the wrong way around. But go with the flow, you'll be fine. So this little bright line is the bit that's going to be catching the moonlight. So I'm putting some lighter colour on that side, but you can see how thinly I've pulled it. And it's basically the same yellowy colour that we've put in the sky, but it's really, really thinly done. And because I didn't cover the fairy completely, I can see where our bottom is, so I can match my toadstool to that shape, so I know I've got it in the right place, which is what I'm doing here. And then I decided on the colour of my toadstool, and I'm just basically drawing around it with the wool in that colour. You don't need to do this, you can just make one without doing the drawing around the wool and downloading the picture if you don't need to do it. But I just do it because I've drawn it once already, and it's just easier for me to just do this again. So this is just black with a bit of, in my case, I wanted to have a little bit of purple on it. So I've mixed the black with the purple in the same way I did the sky. So it's really dark to start with, and then I'm going to build the colour up on it. And I did buy some experimental wool the other day. It's merino and it's got little bits of angel fibre in and stuff. And so I'm going to have a go at that today and see if I can make my mushrooms, toadstools, sparkle a bit. So it's Angelina fibre, I think it's called. So I've just got one of the wools I had anyway, and I've put a few fibres in it. See if I can make them sparkle a bit. It wasn't too bad, it didn't work out too bad. I'm just not used to seeing glittery bits on, on my felting. I'm not a fan of glitter. I like glitter, you know, when you see it on cards and stuff, and it's shiny, and you know, the little kid in me loves the glitter. But I don't want it in my house, and the kids think it's funny. They keep threatening to get me birthday cards that spit glitter everywhere. but I can't bear it. It gets stuck in your face, and so I like glitter from a distance. So although this isn't glitter, it's sparkly, and it kind of it gets me in the same way. But I think it was pretty. It was nice to have a little sparkle. So I took these few glittery bits out of the wall I bought because they're like long thin fibres, and so I just chopped a few bits up and put it in this. And then, but you'll see the wool later when I come to do the fairy's wings. So I'm just really building up the light and dark on this toadstool now. Although this doesn't have spots, so I could call it a mushroom. As I know nothing about either of them, you can correct me because I can well be very wrong. So for me in this case, the light's going to be coming from, you're basically, when you look at the picture, you're looking at the light source. So I'm thinking about that when I'm putting highlights around the bits and pieces that I put down. So can you see what I mean? If you'd sat her right in the middle, you wouldn't get room for the wings. So if you're going to draw your fairy yourself, just make sure you think about that. So I'm doing the same with her. I'm just going to go round her now because she's basically starting off as a black silhouette. So I can go around the whole of the outside of her with a very thin black line. So all I've really done is draw her back in again. And then I shall fill her in black as well. At this point to me she looks like Wilma from the Flintstones. I don't know if you're old enough to remember the Flintstones, but yeah. So I'm just making her a little face, popping on a little nose. And now that I have her black, I'm going to add a little bit of colour to her as her body, but I want it really faint. So in a minute what I'm going to do is mix some, I decided on green because she's wearing a green dress, so I mix a little bit of green with the black, and I'm just going and catching areas of her that will catch the light. But it's very subtle. If you just looked at her from a distance, you might not even notice there's a little bit of green and stuff on her chest and things. So can you see I've got, that's just some dark green with a little bit of black mixed in, and I'm just catching parts of her so that it's like the light's just skimming over her clothing and you can just see that she's wearing something. So I'm kind of building her dress in this dark green. But I'm not going all over her, I'm just doing the outside parts, the outside edges really. And because it's going to come down and she's got like a little skirt on. well, you know, that part of the thing in a minute, which I will do in the green as well. Can you just see? It's just catching, and I've built up the skirt part of her dress with it as well, because the light would shine through that. It makes her look like she's glowing a little as well. So now we're going to have a go at the wings, and this is the best way I felt to do, is to just chop them into bits and then reassemble them in a minute. So this is that wool I said I've got. It's this one's the blue with these Angelina fibres, and I chopped it into fine bits because I didn't want the long fibres. So I'm hoping that this was an experiment because I've not used it before. I was hoping that if I chop it up fine enough, I can have short bits of the glittery part. So I've decided what colour the outside of my wings are going to be. So this is what I'm using this for first. So I'm going to draw around basically each individual wing as I go, and then I will fill it in from there. So I'm doing it this way, so I've got all the correct proportions and things, and the wings in the right place. And of course this one I'm working on now is the wing that's on the other side. And the wings are quite a fun part because they're an area you can really have a play with. Put, you know, if you've got some nice colours that you don't normally use, you can pop those on the wings. It's a good place to play with your colours. I keep getting little bits of black and little bits of glittery stuff on the other wall. I have to keep pulling off. And if you're not sure what to do for the wings, have a look on Google and things at what are pictures of fairies and stuff, and have a look, because some of the wings are quite pretty. So you can see here I've done the same thing. I'm just chopping each part of a wing separately and then putting them on. I just found that the best way to do it, really. And there's no particular reason I chose this colour or anything for the wings. It's just that that's the colour of the walls I'd got, so that's why I'm using them. But you could have your wings in any colour, really. I wouldn't have them too bright. You'll see what I mean when I get to mine. Are more pastel-y. I know it doesn't look like that looking at that now, but you'll see what I mean. So I'm just basically mixing it till it's a nice pastel sparkly colour. I enjoyed using the glittery bits. I don't know, I've got these walls, they'll probably last me a lifetime because I don't think I'm going to use them very often, but there was certainly nothing wrong with them. This is the where I'm attempting to make like the veins that go through the wings. So yes, this wool I had, I had a blue one with the Angelina fibres in, I think that's what they're called, and I got a blue one, a green one, and a silver one, I think. For some reason I didn't get the red one, even though Christmas is coming. So I've got to go back, and if they've still got it, I'll get the red one as well. But I did like the sparkly look. I just found the threads, because obviously the threads don't felt, the sparkly bits, which is why you've got it with the other wool. And I did find some of them wanted to escape quite a lot, so I had to keep refelting them down. And as far as I know, although I wouldn't necessarily iron my pictures, you can iron this Angelina. Don't quote me on it, but I think you can iron it as well, and it sticks together. But I don't iron my felted pictures, so I shall never find that one out. Although I would think that could be quite good if you can iron it. You could literally make yourself a fairy wing and then just felt the end of it in with some wool, and you could have a completely glittery wing, if you see what I'm saying. Just make the shape of a wing, iron it, and then felt the end in. But that's an experiment for another day. So we're going to build up some of the bottom here now and put some bits and pieces in. So this is a place to have a play as well with your colours and things in a minute. So if you've got some really muted colours, you can add these along the bottom, like I did the green on the fairy. If you have some really sort of, not pale, but not bright greens and things like that, you can add those into the bottom, because you can have a nice mix of things down there, because it's supposed to be the ground, obviously, anyway. So this is what I did. I had some kind of muted reds and things like that, and I put those in the bottom, just where the black is, just as a ground thing before I put the flowers and things in. So this part I'm doing here is, if I recall correctly, is the gills of the toadstool, and then I will put some colour over it. Because this one you're looking up underneath that a little bit. You obviously can do the mushrooms, toadstools in any colour you like. I just was kind of keeping the bluey purpley theme going, which is why I did that on the mushrooms as well. I wanted the whole thing to kind of blend together, whereas if I'd done them in red or something, they would have stood out more, and I didn't really want anything other than maybe the wings to stand out a lot on this picture. I think for me, this one, the wings and the toadstool that she's sitting on, because it's got glitter, are the main features. But I wanted to keep the whole picture, what I'm trying to say, in like a colour tone thing. If you see what I mean. If I'd added lots of yellow or reds and things like that, it would have turned it into a completely different picture for me. But I do add, in a minute you'll see, a little pop of colour down on the bottom where the ground is. And I felt in this corner I wanted that the kind of circle around her a little bit more. So this is why I've raised that edges up so it's a little bit more circular, the lighter colour. So now along the bottom here I'm going to just pop in some little plants and leaves and things. You can see why I kept the bottom quite so dark, because as I add little bits onto it, it brings them out. And as you can see along the bottom, now I'm adding like slightly darker. The bits I'm putting on the ground to make the dirt up are still muted, but there's little bits of green and little bits of blue, things like that in the bottom now. So it's not that flat black that we put down originally. So what you want to do here is, if you're going to put your little plants and bits and bobs in the bottom here, keep your long bits to the outside edges so it keeps you in the picture. Don't put any long bits up the middle. Think of them as like a frame. And if you look, the colours of the little flowers and things that I'm putting in still match the purples and blues. They're not really bright, they're still those kind of soft colours. And the way I'm doing the little flowers is I'm just rolling, as you can see, just rolling blobs. I'm just putting little blobs down. I'm not trying to make petals and things particularly. And the other quick thing to notice, well, is if you notice that where the greenery and the plants meet the ground, they're a little bit darker than at the top of them, so they go from a dark green to a lighter green. Oh, and I bought, when I was buying these glittery wool, I bought some, I think they're called neps, to see how they'd work, but honestly I put them down, and what you're supposed to do is use them and put a little wool over the top to tack them down, but I think they're better for wet felting, because I tried it and honestly they fell off more than they stayed in place. So next time I think I'll save it for wet felting, and I will just roll up little coloured blobs and pop them down. But it was worth a go. I wanted to try a bit of something different. Still just softening those edges up a bit. Yeah, so if you notice, we started off with a lot of little nip things and we ended up with quite a few less. So there we go then. I hope you enjoyed the picture. Do have a go, let me know how you get on, and I will see you for the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.